In Atlanta, Georgia, life moves to its own rhythm, a blend of Southern tradition and city hustle. In a modest home, Dolores D. Washington, a single mother of 7, is the heart of her family. Her days are a whirlwind of work, laughter, and love. This is the story of resilience, hope, and the strength found in family. Dolores Washington is, above all else, a mother. Her fierce love for her 7 children drives her every action. She sacrifices, protects, and cheers them on. But behind her strength, she hides a secret struggle with addiction, determined to shield her family. Her journey is a testament to the complexities of motherhood. The 7 Washington children are a vibrant and diverse constellation of personalities, each with their own dreams, struggles, and unique place within the family ecosystem. They are not just supporting characters in their mother's story. They're fully realized individuals navigating their own complex journeys. The eldest, Marcus, is 22 and the family's shining star. A pre-med student at a local college, he carries the immense weight of his family's hopes on his shoulders. He is responsible, intelligent, and deeply devoted to his mother and siblings, often acting as a surrogate father figure. The pressure to succeed is enormous, and he feels every bit of it. Following Marcus is Keisha, 19, a practical and nurturing soul who balances community college with a part-time job. She has a maturity beyond her years, often stepping into the role of a second mother to her younger siblings. Keisha is the family's organizer, the one who knows everyone's schedules and can sense when things are starting to unravel. Then there is 16-year-old Javon, the high school junior with dreams of the NBA. He is the family's star athlete, a basketball prodigy whose talent on the court is matched only by the pressure he feels from potential college scouts and the expectations of his community. 14-year-old Trinity is the quiet intellectual of the family. Academically gifted but socially awkward, she often retreats into the world of books and the endless scroll of social media. She is observant and sensitive, a silent witness to the family's dynamics, processing her thoughts and feelings in private. Providing a burst of energy and much-needed comic relief are the 11-year-old twins, Mason and Madison. These energetic middle schoolers are a whirlwind of activity and mischief, but beneath their playful exteriors lies a surprising awareness. They notice more about the family's struggles than anyone gives them credit for, often expressing their concerns in their own innocent and unfiltered way. Finally, there is Zara, the baby of the family at just 8 years old. Precocious and deeply observant, Zara is the emotional heart of the Washington clan. She has a way of asking simple, direct questions that cut through the adult complexities and get straight to the truth. Her innocence and unwavering love often serve as the family's moral compass, reminding everyone of what is truly important. Together, these 7 children form a boisterous, loving, and resilient unit. They argue, they laugh, they support each other, and they are the undeniable reason Dee Washington fights as hard as she does every single day. The tone of the Washington family's life is a delicate balance of genuine warmth and the raw, unspoken realities of their situation. Humor is a constant presence, bubbling up naturally from the everyday chaos of raising a large family. It emerges in the witty banter between Dee and her kids, in the twins' latest harebrained scheme, and in the shared laughter over a mishap at the dinner table. This humor is not a way of making light of their problems, but a vital coping mechanism. It's a tool for survival, a way to find moments of joy and connection even when circumstances are difficult. It's the glue that holds them together, a testament to their resilient spirits. However, beneath the laughter and the facade of normalcy, there are deep undercurrents of struggle. Dee's addiction casts a long shadow over the family, even if most of the children don't understand its true nature. They feel its effects in her unpredictable moods, her moments of irritability, and her increasing exhaustion. They see the cracks forming in the strong foundation she has always provided, but they lack the language or the context to name the problem. The series will not glamorize addiction or demonize Dee. Instead, it will portray it as a disease, a powerful force that impacts the entire family system in profound and complicated ways. The narrative is designed to highlight the incredible strength and love that helps this family endure. It's a story about resilience, about how ordinary people can summon extraordinary courage when faced with overwhelming challenges. The love between Dee and her children is the unshakable foundation upon which their story is built. Despite the chaos, the financial strain, and the secret Dee is hiding, their bond remains their greatest asset. The series will explore the theme of family as a sanctuary, a place where, even in the darkest of times, there is acceptance, support, and the promise of a fresh start. Ultimately, Drama for Your Mama aims to be both entertaining and meaningful. It seeks to create a world that feels authentic, lived in, and specific to its modern Atlanta setting. The story will honor the intelligence of its audience by presenting a multi-layered portrayal of an African-American family navigating complex issues. It's a journey of breaking cycles, of the importance of community, and of the painful, beautiful process of growing up for both the children and their mother. It's a story that insists that even in the middle of a storm, a family's love can be the anchor that keeps them from being swept away. Dawn struggled through Dee Washington's blinds, casting a gray glow. It was 6 a.m., but Dee lay motionless, pinned by a chemical fog. The pills promised rest, but delivered only a heavy silence. Down the hall, her daughter Zara woke to an empty kitchen and a mother lost in sleep. The quiet escape was a cruel illusion, stolen time, borrowed from her children and the morning. Without Dee's steady hand, the morning unraveled. Keisha jolted awake, panic rising as she realized everything was behind. She rushed to organize her siblings, but the kitchen was chaos. No breakfast, no lunches, just confusion. The twins stumbled in asking for Momma. Keisha tried to take charge, but the house, usually a hive of order, became a riot of shouts, burnt toast, and tears. Dee's absence was felt everywhere. Marcus walked through the front door, expecting a quick hello and coffee before class. Instead, chaos greeted him, siblings arguing, his mother unwell behind a closed door. Instinctively, Marcus took charge, calming the room and organizing his siblings. He checked on his mother, worry hidden behind steady words. Once again, Marcus put his future on hold to keep his family together. I woke to an empty house, the storm's silence replaced by a cold, half-eaten bowl of cereal. Shame and urgency hit me at once. I became Dolores Washington, the dependable supervisor, masking exhaustion with crisp uniform and a forced smile. At the hotel, I moved through the day on autopilot, holding it together for everyone else, even as the effort chipped away at me, hour by hour. The workday finally ended, letting me step off the tightrope I'd been walking all day. The regional manager had left, apparently satisfied, and I'd made it through the crisis. But there was no relief, just this bone-deep exhaustion that went way beyond being physically tired. It was the exhaustion of holding up a lie. As I gathered my things from my small, cluttered desk, my purse tipped over, spilling everything across the floor. Lipsticks, loose change, old receipts, and a small crumpled flyer scattered at my feet. I sighed, bending down to collect the mess, my back aching in protest. My fingers closed around the flyer. It was for a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, a schedule for a group that met in a church basement not far from my house. I'd picked it up weeks ago in a moment of desperate clarity and shoved it deep into my purse, a secret I couldn't bear to look at. Now, here it was, lying on the floor of my office, a stark, undeniable piece of evidence of the truth I was running from. The crisp, professional world of Dee, the supervisor, and the secret, messy world of my addiction had just collided right there on the beige industrial carpet. Staring at the crumpled paper in my hand, the words hope and recovery seemed to mock me. I had just spent an entire day projecting strength and competence, acting like a woman who had everything under control. But this small piece of paper told a different story. It spoke of weakness, of a battle I was losing, of a secret so deep it had made me abandon my children that morning. The shame from earlier, which I'd managed to keep buried all day, came rushing back, suffocating. I thought of my kids, of Marcus having to step in, of Zara's confused face. I quickly shoved the flyer back into my purse, burying it beneath my wallet, as if hiding it could make the problem disappear. But the image was stuck in my mind. The cracks in my carefully constructed facade weren't just showing, they were starting to crumble. The morning's chaos wasn't some isolated incident. It was a symptom of something much deeper. As I walked out of the hotel and into the fading Atlanta sunlight, the weight of it all felt heavier than ever. The flyer in my purse was a silent, damning witness, a reminder that tomorrow would come, and unless something changed, it would probably bring the same drama, if not worse. The day after that chaotic morning, there was this tense, fragile atmosphere hanging over our house. I was there physically, but I felt like a ghost, just moving through the motions, my spirit somewhere else. The pill's effects still lingered, mixing with the deep shame of my failure, wrapping me in a thick fog of irritability. Every little sound grated on my nerves. Even the simplest question felt like an accusation. The usual morning banter was gone, replaced by this strained silence, broken only by my sharp, clipped responses. My kids, always so sensitive to the mood in the house, moved around me with caution, their energy dampened by my mood. I tried to pull it together, tried to be the mom they needed. I made pancakes, a Tuesday morning treat, but my movements were jerky, impatient. When Mason accidentally spilled syrup on the counter, I snapped. "Can't you just be careful for once?" My voice came out way louder than I meant. Mason flinched, his cheerful face just crumbling as he mumbled an apology. Keisha jumped in right away, wiping up the mess and giving me a look that said more than words ever could. The air just crackled with unspoken tension. This wasn't me, not the mom who would usually laugh it off and call him her sticky little monster. This irritability was a classic sign of withdrawal. My body and mind were screaming for the chemical calm I was trying to deny them, but to my kids, it just looked like mom being mean. Javon, who needed me to sign a permission slip for his basketball trip, hesitated by the kitchen door, weighing whether it was safe to even ask. Trinity, always the watcher, sat behind her book, quietly taking in the tightness in my jaw and the dark circles under my eyes. Even Zara kept her distance, playing with her dolls in the corner instead of her usual spot at my feet. The fog of my struggle wasn't just inside me anymore, it was seeping out, poisoning the very air we breathed. My attempts to shield my children were failing. In trying to hide the disease, I was revealing its ugliest symptoms: anger, impatience, and emotional distance. The warmth that usually filled our home felt like it had been turned down, leaving everyone cold and uncertain. I was there, but also a million miles away, lost in a haze of my own making, and my kids were lost right along with me, trying to navigate the confusing, unpredictable moods of the person who used to be their rock. That evening was supposed to be special for Javon. He and his mom always had a pre-game ritual, sitting on the porch, sharing words that gave him strength. But tonight, Dee was lost in cravings and stress, barely noticing him. Their tradition was broken. Javon left for his game alone, the silence heavy. Dee realized, too late, she'd pushed him away, her struggle shattering what mattered most. While Javen dealt with his disappointment, the other children processed the family's strange new climate in their own ways. Trinity, the quiet observer, turned to the internet, searching for answers about her mother's behavior. She found lists and stories that echoed her fears. Something was truly wrong. Meanwhile, the twins whispered in their room, trying to make sense of Mama's changes with imagination and humor. Each child, in their own way, tried to piece together the puzzle of their mother's behavior. Shanice had always known Dee, her laugh, her fire, her struggles. But lately, Dee seemed to be fading, her smile never quite reaching her eyes. Shanice tried to help, but Dee kept her distance, insisting she was fine. The weight of worry grew as Shanice watched her friend drown in secrets she couldn't share. That night, after the house had quieted, Javin came home defeated from his game. He tried to slip past his mother, but she was waiting in the dark. In the silence, I whispered, "I'm sorry, Javin." He replied, "It's okay, Mom." For tonight there was a fragile peace between us. The fragile peace of last night vanished with the morning. A coworker called in sick and I was asked to work a double shift. 16 hours, sunrise to well after sunset. I couldn't say no, rent was due, and overtime was a lifeline. As I called home, guilt washed over me. The work I do to provide for my family is what keeps me away from them. Keisha hung up the phone, the weight of my words settling on her. She surveyed the chaos, siblings everywhere, homework forgotten, dinner unmade, and felt both resentment and fierce love. She rallied the twins inside, corralled Trinity and Javon, and took charge in the kitchen, spaghetti boiling, bread burning, patience fraying. The pressure was immense. Keisha realized how hard it was to hold everything together, her empathy for me deepening with every small disaster. For the first time, she understood the true burden of being the one in command. The load was too heavy for one person, and she felt herself start to break. Marcus came home to chaos. Burnt bread, crying kids Keisha defeated at the table. He took over, calming the twins with cereal for dinner, comforting Zara, and sending Keisha to rest. Marcus didn't just fix dinner. He validated Keisha's struggle and quietly held the family together. He played the hero, but wondered how many more times he could patch the holes before everything fell apart. The relief on Keisha's face was immense as she left the kitchen. Marcus sat with the kids, listening to their day, putting his own needs aside. He was the glue, but the cracks were growing. The twins, Mason and Madison, watched everything, their whispered conversation revealing more than their antics. "Keisha was mad sad," Madison said. "And Marcus is doing his super dad voice," Mason replied. They sensed the tension, the missing mom, the growing instability. Their questions, "Why is Mama at work so much?" hung heavy, the answers never quite enough. Beneath their playfulness, they were scared, missing the security their mother brought. Even the youngest felt the family slipping toward crisis. A knock at the door. Mr. Peterson, the landlord, with an envelope in hand. "I need the full rent by week's end, or I have to start eviction," he said, voice flat. Marcus took the notice, the word eviction echoing in his mind. The threat was real now. Survival, not just chaos, was at stake. Marcus felt the crushing weight of responsibility, anger, and fear. He knew he'd have to tell his mother, shattering the illusion that everything was fine. The fire had a name now, and it was burning closer than ever. Marcus called me with the news. Eviction. The word broke me. 14 hours into my shift, I crumbled in a quiet hallway, the weight of failure suffocating. I was supposed to be strong, but the money I was killing myself to earn wouldn't be enough. The pills in my purse called to me, promising escape. I faced a choice: give in to the addiction or face the fire with nothing but fear and love for my kids. The unraveling was nearly complete. I was at the edge, terrified of what would come next. Days after the eviction notice, I sat in the doctor's office, the place where my pain and my addiction began. The doctor offered a new prescription, a lifeline, and a trap. My heart pounded. Part of me wanted to say yes, to escape, but another part remembered my children. "No thank you," I whispered, refusing for the first time. It was a small victory, but it left me exposed, facing the storm without my usual shield. I walked out proud and terrified, knowing the real battle was just beginning. I came home from the doctor, exhausted and raw. Marcus was waiting, holding my pill bottle, my secret exposed. His gentle questions shattered my defenses. I wanted to lie, but he deserved the truth. I confessed, I have a problem. Tears finally came. It was the start of something honest and maybe healing. Dee's dam of denial finally broke. She confessed everything to Marcus, her struggles, her shame, her double life. He listened, his sadness turning to understanding and fierce love. For the first time, Dee wasn't alone. By surrendering, she chose her family over addiction. The path ahead was uncertain, but now they'd face it together. With Marcus by her side, Dee made the most difficult call of her life. Her hands shook as she dialed the number from the NA flyer. Roland, a calm sponsor, answered and invited her to a meeting that night. Marcus nodded and Dee whispered, yes. That evening, Dee froze outside the church, fear gripping her. Marcus squeezed her hand. You took the first step, Mom. This is just the next one. Taking a deep breath, Dee walked toward the entrance. Her journey had begun. Dee pushed open the heavy basement door, met by the smell of stale coffee and quiet conversation. A circle of strangers welcomed her, no questions asked. Roland, with a gentle smile, greeted her. I'm glad you came. He knew her struggle. He'd lived it. For the first time, Dee felt she belonged. As the meeting ended, Roland walked her to the door. Call anytime, he said. We're all in this together. Dee left lighter, knowing she wasn't alone anymore. The next day, while I was still trying to process the emotional whirlwind of that NA meeting, my mother, Gloria Washington, came over to help with the kids. Gloria was always the pillar of our family. You know, a retired church secretary whose presence just felt like a comforting constant. She had known something was wrong with me for months, but her way was quiet observation and prayer, not confrontation. She saw the new fragility in my eyes, but also, I guess, a flicker of something else. Something she hadn't seen in a long time, a spark of real hope. She found me sitting at the kitchen table, just staring into a cup of coffee. Gloria didn't ask about that errand from the night before. Instead, she started her usual routine, tidying up the kitchen, her movements calm and purposeful. As she worked, she started talking, her voice soft and steady. She spoke of faith, but not in a preachy way, more like a practical tool for survival. You know, the good Lord never gives us a burden we can't carry, she said, wiping down the counter. Sometimes, He just wants us to get humble enough to ask for help carrying it. Whether you ask Him or you ask the people He puts in your path, it's all the same. Her words went straight to my heart. Gloria might not have known the specific name of my demon, but she understood the nature of a spiritual battle. She knew I was struggling with a burden too heavy for one person. Her quiet faith created this safe space, free of judgment, where I finally felt I could be honest with my own mother. Taking a deep breath, I looked at Gloria and said, "Mama, I went to a meeting last night for my problem with the pills." I braced myself for shock, for disappointment, for a lecture. But instead, Gloria simply stopped wiping the counter, came over to the table, and pulled me into a tight, warm hug. "I know, baby," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I've been praying for you to find your way." In that moment, I understood her love and faith had been a silent, supportive net beneath me all along. Gloria didn't need to know the details of NA or the specifics of recovery. Her support was unconditional, rooted in this deep, unwavering belief in my strength and in a power greater than us all. That quiet, powerful acceptance was another turning point, solidifying my resolve to keep going on this new path. After my first NA meeting, mornings felt different, like waking from a long dream. The chaos of 7 kids was still there, but I moved with a fragile calm. My patients softened, and the kids noticed. Marcus and I shared quiet support. The eviction notice still loomed, but hope returned. The sun through the kitchen window felt brighter, a new beginning. Zara, my youngest and probably most observant, had been watching me with this intense curiosity. She noticed the long phone calls I had in the evenings, my voice low and serious. She saw that little booklet from the NA meeting sitting on my nightstand. She felt the shift in the house, the fragile calm that had replaced the stormy tension. To her 8-year-old mind, all these things were pieces of a puzzle she just couldn't quite solve. One afternoon, as I was helping her with a drawing at the kitchen table, Zara finally asked the question that had been bubbling inside her. "Mama," she said, crayon pausing in her hand, "why are you different now?" The question was so simple, so direct, and honestly, it just took the wind right out of me. How could I explain the complexities of addiction recovery and all those years of pain to my youngest? How could I find the right words that were honest but not scary? I looked into Zara's wide, innocent eyes, searching for a truth she could understand. The old me would have brushed it off, saying something like, "Mommy's just feeling better." But the new me, the one who promised herself to be honest, knew I owed her more than that. I owed her a piece of the truth. Taking a deep breath, I chose my words carefully, like I was handling delicate glass. "You know how sometimes you get a tummy ache and it makes you feel grumpy and you don't want to play?" I began. Zara nodded, her face serious. "Well, Mama had a sickness kind of like that, but it was a grown-up sickness. It made my heart and my head feel sick, and it made me grumpy and tired all the time. It made it hard for me to be the best mama I could be." I paused, letting that settle, watching her face for understanding. "So you went to the doctor?" Zara asked, her logic so simple and sweet. "Yes, baby," I said, giving her a small, sad smile. "I'm going to some special meetings, like a doctor for my feelings, to help me get all better. And it's working. That's why I seem different. I'm learning how to be the real me again." Zara thought about that for a moment, then just leaned over and wrapped her little arms around my neck. "I like the real you, Mama," she whispered. And in that simple, profound act of acceptance, I felt another layer of shame fall away, replaced by the pure, healing power of my daughter's love. Trinity dove into research, leaving recovery articles for her mom, hoping to help. Javon, still hurt by broken promises, kept his distance, arms crossed, wary, not ready to trust again. Their conflict mirrored the family's struggle, hope versus skepticism. Dee, overhearing, felt the weight of her past and the challenge of rebuilding trust. On game day, Javon sat on the porch, tying his shoes, tense and quiet. Dee joined him, her voice gentle. "I know I let you down," she said, "but I promise I'll show up for you starting today." Javon finally looked at her, saw her sincerity, and nodded. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start, a promise kept. The Washington family was learning a new way to be together. The old dynamic, with Dee as the infallible, all-powerful center, had crumbled. In its place, they were slowly, tentatively, building something new. It was a structure based on a fragile but growing honesty. The kids started to talk more openly, not just about their mother's recovery, but about how it had affected them. Keisha admitted how overwhelmed she felt, and Marcus confessed his fear about the eviction notice, a conversation that now included Dee, who was able to face it with a clearer head, brainstorming solutions with Roland's guidance. The secrets were being replaced by shared problems, which felt lighter when carried by everyone. The family began to create new rituals. They started having a nightly check-in, a few minutes after dinner, where everyone could share one good thing and one hard thing about their day. At first it was awkward, especially for the teenagers, but slowly it became a cherished routine. The twins would talk about schoolyard squabbles, Trinity would share something interesting she learned, and Javon began to grudgingly admit when he'd had a good practice. It was a simple exercise, but it was rebuilding the lines of communication that had been corroded by Dee's addiction. They were learning to listen to each other again. Dee's recovery was the central project, but it also sparked individual growth in her children. Keisha started setting boundaries, learning to say no when she felt overwhelmed and asking for help before she reached a breaking point. Trinity used her research skills to find a local ALA team meeting, a support group for young people affected by a loved one's alcoholism or addiction, finding a community that understood her specific anxieties. Even the twins seemed to channel their chaotic energy more productively, making Get Well Soon Momma cards that covered the refrigerator, their own unique contribution to the family's healing. The journey was far from over. The path to recovery is not a straight line, and the Washingtons knew there would be setbacks, bad days, and new challenges ahead. The threat of losing their home was still very real, but they were facing it together, as a unit. They were building new bridges over the chasms that had formed between them, brick by brick, conversation by conversation, promise by promise. They were no longer just a family surviving a crisis. They were a family actively growing together, their roots intertwined, becoming stronger and more resilient in the broken places. The drama was still there, but now, so was the hope. The Washington family's journey through addiction wasn't about erasing the past, but rebuilding, slowly, together. Their foundation, once cracked by pain, was now repaired with honesty and shared vulnerability. Dee's recovery sparked change, but true transformation was collective. The house felt like home again, a sanctuary filled with laughter, honest conversation, and support. The Washingtons proved a broken foundation can be rebuilt, stronger, more resilient, and united. As Dee continued her recovery, hope quietly returned to the Washington household, woven into laughter, dreams, and daily life. Dee's laughter, the children's renewed dreams, and Marcus and Keisha's ambitions all signaled change. Supported by family, friends, and mentors, they faced challenges together. Dee's greatest gift was showing her children resilience and the belief that a better tomorrow is always possible. Atlanta's vibrant energy and deep-rooted spirit shaped the Washington family's journey. Their struggles and resilience echoed the city's own as they found support in neighbors, healing in simple pleasures, and hope in community. Atlanta wasn't just their backdrop, it was a living character, its enduring rhythm guiding them toward a new, more hopeful song. The Washington story isn't a perfect ending, but a hopeful beginning. They've faced hardship, but emerged stronger, more connected, and ready for whatever comes next. Their love, tested by fire, remains unbreakable. United, they step into tomorrow, not as a perfect family, but as a real one, ready for new challenges and new joys. The promise of tomorrow is theirs, united, unafraid, and together.